we've been your job search besties and helped you in some way, there's a cool way you can support the show. Shout us a virtual coffee.
We get a huge kick out of reading all of your success stories. Head to buymeacoffee.com/interviewboss and shout us a cuppa.
If you keep us caffeinated, we can keep the content coming. Yes, apply. Those are the same as is it 3-bedroom? Does it have a dishwasher? Like, we're talking basics.
True.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Interview Boss. My name is Emma. I'm a radio journalist who's teamed up with my sister to give you advice, inspiration and support when you're looking for a new job. Sarah is a HR and recruitment professional, and together we're excited to give you all the tips, tricks and behind the scenes knowledge to help you in your career.
Hey, Em, and welcome back to the podcast, everyone. It's time for our favourite part of every single episode, our Shoot Your Shot Shoutout. This is where we celebrate you guys, our incredible listeners, who've gone out there, shot your shot, and landed a big win, a little win, something in your job search. Em, this week, we're giving a shout out to T.
Yes, T bought us 4 coffees and said, having been a career coach, leader and mentor for a number of years, when it was time for me to step away from my current role and get back into interviewing, it was an embarrassing shock to realise I'd forgotten how to interview myself. My first interview with the company I was a little too excited about was a notable bomb that left me staring into space with absolute wonder at the level of bad I displayed. I'd started searching for podcasts that I could listen to while walking the dog and found you two. Between the varied topics that you cover, your fun banter and accents that are very pleasant to listen to, I've been through much of your content. I prepared the best bits, retailored my introductions and prepared myself for salary negotiations and listened to your right before the interview pep talk before every interview. Getting to the final stages with 2 companies, I listened to your show regarding how to best communicate the competing offers. That's our power move. And after accepting a new offer, was able to confidently plan my exit with my previous employer. I've been with my new company now for about a month, and while the jump did feel scary, I'm so glad I made the move to be somewhere where I actually feel respected and valued. I'm thrilled to have found you and recommend Interview Boss to other yanks struggling in their job searches. Thank you for the positive energy, advice and fun you bring to the job search grind, which can so often feel awful and soul-sucking. Enjoy a couple of coffees.
Oh my gosh, I love this from T. And it just goes to show we've had these in from recruiters, from people who work in HR, who worked in recruitment themselves, and career coach, leader and mentor. Just because you know how to give other people advice doesn't mean you know how to do it yourself. Like, even I would go back and be like, what do I normally say about this? Like, what do I need to do in this situation? It's so helpful to have something to listen to, particularly when you're really stuck in the grind or you've had a big shock about an interview not going the way you planned.
Yeah, I'm just busy looking up yank definition. What does that mean?
Have you really never heard the word yank before?
No, it comes up with like, obviously to pull with a jerk or a sudden hard pull. So unless there's like an Urban Dictionary meaning that I'm missing.
It means American. It means American.
Like the New York Yankees.
It says, no, it's like, I don't know, some people might find it offensive potentially. Like, I wouldn't probably use it, but in terms of referring to themselves, T can call themselves a yank. But the shortened form yank is used as a derogatory or playful or colloquial term for Americans in Britain, Australia, Canada, South Africa, Ireland and New Zealand.
But is it because of the Yankees?
No, Emma.
Well, it just seems weird that that's a sports team.
As if it would be named after a team.
Yeah, we're the Yanks. We're the supporters, you know? That's what it sounds like. Anyway, you learn something new every day.
I found an article in National Geographic that says no one is really sure where the word Yankee came from.
So don't be dismissing me if you don't know where it's come from. It could have originated from the sport.
Okay, well, it was used in 1758 by a British general, so I don't think it originated from the sport. So I'm going to go with I was right, but I just don't happen to know where it came from because nobody does. So if you are a bit like T and you've had an interview that did not go the way you planned and you need a little bit more help, maybe you are right for some extra support from Interview Boss. We have our one-on-one interview coaching session, so you can spend an hour with me if you just need a little bit of feedback to get you on the right track, or if you need to go back to the whole process of preparing for an interview, you need a deep dive on all of the different aspects of the process, then our Interview Academy is absolutely something that you should go and check out. So check out all the info, interviewboss.com.au/coaching to see which one's right for you.
As always, if you liked one of our episodes, used a tip that we sent you, or would like to request an episode on your conundrum, kindly follow us on Instagram and slide into our DMs. And next week, we could choose your situation to do a whole episode on.
Yes. Now, this one comes from a coaching session that I recently did. Shout out if you're listening and you know that this is you. It's a conversation that I had about not being really very inspired by any of the job ads that you're seeing or any of the things that you want to apply for. Do you reckon this is something you can relate to? Have you been in this position before where you're like, I don't know, none of these sound good?
Yeah, I think so. Especially because I've been in positions where I haven't been actively job searching. So therefore, I would only apply for something if it kind of blew me away. So if I just am checking in periodically and I'm not desperate to get out of my current job, I could be like, meh, they all sound boring. So I'm not going to bother.
Totally. And I also think this can happen when you're applying for lots of different things too, and they're all starting to sound the same. So lots of different scenarios. But before we get into our advice, a bit of a disclaimer. This episode is not for you if you're already applying for anything and everything. If you are applying for lots and lots of roles every day, this episode's not for you because this is going to encourage you in the wrong direction. But if you are being very, very selective about what you're applying for, then this episode is something that you should listen to.
Yeah, so this is for you if you're being super picky and selective. So an important thing to clear up is that most people write bad job ads. Unfortunately, they're not all perfect and they don't all have an expert writing them.
Totally. I think this is my biggest frustration with recruitment and recruiters and people who work in the area that I do. I get so frustrated about the terrible job ads. They're just copied and pasted the responsibilities of the role, whacked on a little bit of a here's about us, here's what the company does, and called it a job ad. And then they're expecting people to see that and decide to spend time and energy and effort actually applying. And they have not put one single thought into what actually does this job need? What kind of person would be attracted by this ad? How do I look at what are the things that someone might really like about this team, this ad, like this group of responsibilities? How do I target it towards the right kind of person that I'm looking for? There is almost no thought in a lot of those different things. Don't get me wrong. There's some companies that do this really well. There's some people that do this really well. But on the whole, job ads are really bad. And it's not the individual's fault. Sometimes we're pressured to just move fast, quickly get the job ad up, move on to the next thing. We repost the same ad every time we've hired for the role, even though the team's different, the manager's different, the whole vibe of what we're looking for is different, but we still post the same job ad because it's like, oh, it's mostly the same role. And I think that means that on the other side of it, people reading job ads and making decisions about whether to apply or not, they don't have very good information to go on because those ads aren't necessarily very representative of what the job is going to be actually like.
Interview Academy might be the perfect thing you're looking for. Interview Academy is a course Sarah has been working on after delivering hundreds of interview coaching sessions and getting incredible results.
But unfortunately, I'm only one gal living in an Aussie time zone who works a day job, and all of that mean I can't help everyone one-on-one, which drove me crazy.
So for over a year, Sarah's been working on turning all of those amazing lessons into an on-demand, step-by-step interview prep course. We hold your hand through the entire thing,
and you can do it at home in your own time and get instant access right now. Check it out at interviewboss.com.au/interview-academy. The link is in the show notes. So it's hard to make a choice from the outside. And I thought of a good analogy when I was prepping this.
Wouldn't be you without an analogy. Is it about dating?
No, it's not about dating this time. I thought about other things that I could compare it to that's not dating, but I actually think it's more like real estate listings. I think this is the perfect analogy for this topic. So you have previously, been in the grind of looking at rental listings and trying to go and view them and looking at whether you want to move in there. I remember you were really...
I think you were meant to say traumatized by.
Give us a little insight. How long were you looking, or how many did you see?
Oh, it probably wasn't that crazy in the scheme of it, but when you're homeless, any amount of time is stressful. But I had moved out of a uni share house, which was a bit of a crack house, typical mold everywhere, like one of those just under maintenance, doors didn't work, all the things.
But you got to live with your friends and it was cheap and whatever.
Yeah, bouncing around, moved into my parents' house for it was meant to be just the few week crossover period. We went to heaps of inspections. We're getting knocked back because there was bidding wars. People were just offering $200 more than the price. One of them, we almost got it offered to us. And then at the last minute, they said the price, it was actually wrongly put up for the price and it's $200 more.
I remember that.
What a lie.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. You've just jacked it up. So yeah, very stressful. And yeah, the catch-22 is you've got to go to the inspections before they'll let you actually apply. But the inspections are at 1 p.m. or 3 p.m. on a weekday, right in the middle of business hours. So very stressful.
Yeah, totally. I have done this process a couple of times. And the most recent time that I did it, I don't know, you're going to roll your eyes at this, Em, and think this is true Sarah fashion, but I was gung-ho, like I'm absolutely prepared. I've heard about this rental crisis. I have to see as many as I possibly can. They're often on a Saturday, so I scheduled myself the very next Saturday I booked in 10. I planned out 10, which is ridiculous. They're like 10 minutes each, and back to back they were on opposite sides of the city. Like, how was I ever going to make it to all of them? Some of them were on at the exact same time, the exact same 15-minute window. So I had to kind of see if I could be at the first one in the first 5 minutes and then drive to the next one and get to be the last one through the next one because they're on at the same time. So I ended up missing a couple. It wasn't reasonable, but I think I saw like 7 or 8 or whatever in like a 3 or 4 hour window. Crazy, ridiculous. But I learned a lot about the difference with real estate listings, and I'm sure you did as well. Some places you see look incredible on the listing, and typically when I turn up for those inspections, there's so many people there. They're like line around the corner, and you go in and the photos are true, but you go in and it's tiny, it's pokey, and they didn't really show that actually that bedroom doesn't really have a window, or it's really dark over there. And like the living room looked really big, but in person it's really small, and it's like it's all new and modern, but it's like I would have no space here. There's no cupboard over here. There's no laundry.
Or when you're having a shower, your knee will touch the toilet at the same time because it's so small.
Exactly. Some of them were really a lot worse than the listing. Some of them were a lot better than the listing. The one I moved into, there was hardly any people at the inspection because the photos just made it look kind of dingy and kind of dark. I got here, incredible, spacious, like balcony, green, leafy street, like lovely. Nothing wrong with it at all. But the listing didn't do it justice whatsoever. And then some of them have out-of-date info. I'm hoping you can see where I'm going with this analogy, right? If I had have judged exclusively based on the listing, I wouldn't have been able to go and see the places that were actually really great. Sometimes the listing did match up with the actual real in-person experience, and sometimes it didn't. And I think the lesson there is we need to look for the basic indicators. So how many bedrooms does it have? How many car parks? Like, what are your basic criteria? And then you need to go and see it. You need more information. The listing and the photos and the whatever, it's not enough info. You have to go and actually get more info. So I think what we can take from this is we don't want to be judging too harshly on the job ad that we're reading.
Yeah, so on the note there of, does it have the basic criteria? If you're going for a marketing job, is this job that's advertised a marketing job? Yes. Is it full-time? Yes. Does it maybe have a flexible arrangement, 1 or 2 days, if that's something you're looking for? Is it within your pay expectations guide? Yes. Apply. Those are the same as, is it 3-bedroom? Does it have a dishwasher? Like, we're talking basics.
True.
And unless there's extreme red flags about the job ad, like they're saying that you're going to run 7 companies independently on your own, apply and then find out more info later.
Yes, I think apply for all of the ones that meet your basic criteria. That might be a bit extreme. But again, if you're the person that's very, very picky, then this is an idea that might be helpful to you. If I add one more layer onto the things that you said, have a look at the broad kind of responsibilities. That might be something that really you care about. I don't want to do, I don't want to do email and social media as well as brand marketing. Okay, cool. Well, those are things that will be black and white in the job ad. Like, it's unlikely for that to completely change when you go later and find out. So those things can absolutely be something that you rule in or out. But do you know if this has the best colleagues and the best team ever from the job ad? If it's written badly and they don't talk about the team. No, you've got no idea. You've got no idea if this is the most supportive, incredible manager who's going to give you all this flexibility, help you in your career, or whether it's an awful, toxic environment and horrible. But we can make that judgment later when we get more information. You don't have to make that judgment on the outside by looking at the reviews.
You also don't know if there's really easy free parking on site and you're across the road from the best coffee shop ever and most people go over there for lunch every day.
Yes. Yep. Totally. Or if the company's just starting on a new kind of project and you're going to get all these opportunities, you don't know that the person that you're going to be sitting next to, you're going to learn some incredible things from. There's so much that you might love about your job that you don't know about this one. And a little activity for us here, Em, I want you to think about a job that you really loved. What were the things, doesn't have to be a favorite job, but just one that you really enjoyed. What were the things about it that you loved the most?
Okay, we'll throw back to my first ever job, which was in a cafe within a plant nursery. Epic job. I was in the sunlight all day. I was watering plants occasionally. I was getting on a motorbike and riding down the back to check on the orchard plants. I was getting chicken nuggets and chips brought to me for lunch. Yeah, making coffees. It was such a fun job.
I'm sure that job description, if it had been advertised, would not have said anything about jumping on the motorbike, about that cool colleague who was going to make you chicken nuggets. It wouldn't have said anything about that. It would have said make coffee, serve food, blah, 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 like really basic, right? And so the things that you loved about it that made it a great place to work weren't included in that ad. And I just want to create a little bit of doubt for anyone that might be listening to this and being really picky or thinking, I don't like anything, or they're only applying for the ads that sound really cool. Newsflash. Everyone else also thinks that they sound really cool because all the rest of the ads are badly written. There might be another job that's advertised that just didn't include all those things, but that actually is better than that job.
And maybe less competitive because it's attracting less people because it's badly written.
Exactly.
So you might have a better chance.
Exactly. How incredible is that? It's this apartment that I got because there was less people there because the listing was kind of bad. Then I didn't have to line up behind 50 other people to go and view it. And it was better than the ones that had the 50 people lining up for it. Like, how cool is that? So I want you to just cast the net a little bit wider. Again, this is not for you if you're already applying for lots and lots of stuff. You're probably already casting your net nice and wide. But if you're being really selective and if you really care about certain things that you're researching on, I love that for you. Keep being selective, but just be selective once you actually have the information. And that might be at the second stage. That might be after you interview. Be picky, but make sure you're making judgments on things that are actually real, not just things that you're assuming about the job by the fact that the ad sounds kind of boring. That's it. That's our message.
Because we all know sometimes when the job ads are super fun and call everyone superstars and we're best friends forever, besties, it can be toxic. So sometimes you can't put too much weight on the job ad in both ends of the spectrum.
We're not judging books by their covers. We're not judging jobs by their job ads. Thanks so much for listening to Interview Boss. If you like hearing the sound of our voices, follow us on Apple or Spotify, or better yet, tell someone else about the show. That's how we can hit the charts so we can help even more people. For some behind the scenes and to see what we get up to and some savable content, check us out on Instagram at Interview Boss. Can you believe we started Interview Boss in 2021?
Not really. It's insane. That's a lot of episodes and a lot of hours of talking.
Oh my gosh, it is. And if you're scrolling through all of our episodes, you might scroll straight past something that you really, really needed.
Yes, we're always getting messages from people asking us to do an episode on something, and I'm like, we already have.
So we've put together playlists to help you find the episodes that are exactly what you need, suited to your situation.
They're all categorized. If you're applying for jobs, we have episodes about resumes, cover letters, job ads. If you've been offered your dream job, we have episodes on resigning, exit interviews, and how to impress at your new company.
And we even have a very special playlist that's very popular for if you have an interview coming up immediately and you need just our most recommended hard-hitting episodes between now and then.
For all our last-minute listeners. It's all there for you. You can browse by category and check out all the playlists at interviewboss.com.au/podcast.